Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aulia Putri. In here, I will explain about practicing. Chess and Chi suggest the thousands of hours of practice may be needed to transform a novice into an expert problem solver. After learners have experienced the solution of example problems, they should have the opportunity to solve problems of similar difficulty. So, students' practice should be provided that knowledge can be recognized and elaborated in a manner that support problem solving. Pattern recognition skills become automatic even with complex or unstructured problems. Identification of sub-goals and related principle becomes automatic, and selection and application of strategies is automatic. So initial practice may involve performance of only one stage of problem solving, such as identifying the goal state, identifying important information in the problem, so identifying relationship between variables, and constructing a presentations of variables in given and goal strategy, identifying partition principle that should be applied, and the last confirming the appropriateness of solutions. Processing feedback. Feedback should include information regarding not only the appropriateness of the learner's solutions, but also the efficiency of the solution process. As learners make the transition from novice to expert, their problem solving will become more automatic. Transfer. Transfer of problem solving skill, particularly transfer of strategy, does not occur spontaneously. For transfer to occur, learners need explicit hints that point to the utility of this learning to similar and dissimilar problems for this lesson. Remotivation and conclusion. A product of problem-solving learners is frequently knowledge of how to use knowledge. So the function of remotivation may be generated by learners as part of successful learning. Assessment. The assessment of problem-solving skills should require learners to solve problems of the class that the instruction has target. Macro strategies for problem-solving instruction. Educators and trainers often employ one of two equality ineffective strategy for teaching problem solving. The first of teach the relevant principle for problem solving. And assume that learners can select and combine the principle for problem solving without any instruction, including practice in problem solving in the domain. The second, more common, the strategy is provide opportunities for problem solving without any instruction on the principle that must be applied to solve problems. Socratic dialogue. The Socratic dialogue is the method of teaching in which a student is guided to attainment of desired learning through instruction with an expert or mentor whose role it is to provide intense and guiding questions. Expert system. Expert systems are computer-based programs which, when given data, are able to solve problems within a limited domain of expertise. Elaboration model. One of the best macro strategies for strategic problem solving involves the presentation of carefully sequenced problem sets. The first set of problems should be the most fundamental of those to be learned. If the instructional of principle occurred just prior to instruction of combining the principle in problem solving, the designer should definitely ensure that sufficient example and practice have been incorporated so that the application of each independent principle is very automatic. Simulation. A simulation can also be used effectively as macro-strategy problem-solving instruction. Tennyson listed the advantages of simulations. Nothing the simulations can do the following. Number 1, portray a meaningful context. Number 2, be quite complex. Number 3, expose learners to alternative solutions. Number 4, require problem solving in situations in which there is no single correct answer. Number 5, allow learners to see the consequence of their solutions. Number 6, require learners to predict the effect of their actions. Case studies and case problems. Case studies can be similar to simulation in that they present a realistic situation and require the learners to respond as if they were the person who must solve a problem. An example of a case study might be developed to teach problem-solving skills in instructional design class, such as application of the principle involved in selecting instructional media. Problem-based learning. A primary benefit that can be expected from well-conceived and problem-based learning is high students' interest and motivation. Cognitive apprenticeships. A traditional apprenticeship involves a learner working under the supervision of an expert or master to learn the skills of a trade, particularly procedures and motor skills. Other macro strategies. A number of the suitable macro strategy may be most appropriate for problem solving in particular domains of context. Example problem solving lesson basic programming course. Number 1, audience. The class consists of undergraduate and graduate students, most of whom undergraduate or educational majors. Setting. The class meeting weekly for 2 hours for 15 weeks in a classroom with 12 Apple computers. Learning tasks. The goals of the course of the learners can do the following: interpret and debug basic code. Number 2, given an instructional problems. Number 3, implement fundamental principle of instructional design in the development of an instructional program. Number 4, use programming and CAI development terminology appropriately. And the last, appreciate the tediousness and the time-consuming nature of programming, and given a desired characteristic of an instructional program, estimate feasibility, difficulty, and amount of the time that will be taken to code the part of the program. Description of the problem lesson. The macro strategy for the lesson is the elaboration model. The course begins with a lesson in which the students learning to apply the most basic programming commands and fundamental syntax principle. Each subsequent lesson merely elaborated a single instructional program, a program designed to teach the concept: transparent, translucent, and opaque. Okay, I think that's all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.